All right. So today we have Nico Tortorella. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Good, Denny. I appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. So first off, tell me, how excited are you that the Mattachine Family has finally premiered?
It's pretty cool. This movie was definitely a labor of love for all,
Mm-hmm.
and it was my first time seeing it after having a baby in San Francisco this past week at Frontline. Frontline? No, Frameline.
Timeline.
Uh, and it's really special. The timing feels almost divine in like a weird way. Just the fact that I was able to shoot this movie while we were going through our own infertility journey and exploring all of these topics like in real time in art, and then both Andy and Danny having Florence after the movie was wrapped, and then us getting pregnant and having Kilmer Dove, our daughter. And Thomas gets a daughter by the end of the movie. It just all feels really special.
It seems like everything aligned in place.
Yeah, it's surreal, honestly.
Mhm. Definitely. So you play the film's lead character, Thomas. How did you get pegged for this role?
Um, I don't know. I mean, they got some good casting directors on board pretty early on. Casting is like a very specific process, especially nowadays
Mhm.
when it's just pretty much in Zooms first and foremost. And I read the script and, just the life imitating art qualities of the story itself, dealing with what we were experiencing. I was just kind of like, oh my God, I need to play this role.
Mhm.
And I got on a call with Andy and Danny, and the rest is history.
That's for certain. Awesome. So yeah, since you and Bethany welcomed your first child, a Kilmer, so did that make you feel like you connected to the story even more?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
For sure. You know, um, there isn't just one way to bring a baby into this world. Uh, there aren't a lot of stories, at least in mainstream media, that represent alternative methods.
mhm.
Um, we dealt with our own miscarriage and IVF and IUI and midwives and doulas and like all of the
All of
pieces
it.
that, I mean, not all of it. There's plenty more, right?
True.
But
Yes.
it, it, this story gave me at least some sort of experience through Thomas, through an external character where I really got to like work out some of these things. It's
Mhm.
interesting, at least like in the first year plus of our journey, Bethany was the emotional one, and I was like trying to hold down the fort as much as I
Mhm.
could. And with Thomas, I was able to be the emotional one. And like, I feel like I got out a lot of stuff that I was holding on to throughout my own process, our process through Thomas. And like for that, I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, definitely. So this was also a very therapeutic process for you.
Sure. I mean, almost first and foremost, this was
Yeah.
there for me.
Mhm. Awesome. So side note, how is parenthood treating both you and Bethany?
Oh, it's the best,
Mhm.
honestly. We were made to do this.
Good.
We we're different people because
Mhm.
the world that we live in has changed. Our priorities has shifted. Our language that we use is evolving. Um, like just our overall lifestyle, like where we want to be, who we want to be around, our friends, our relationships with our family.
Mhm.
Um, everything is growing
Yeah.
in ways that we like imagined, but never knew to this extent. I mean, we're having conversations that we never would have imagined having before Kilmer came into the world, and just the ways in which uh, she arrived at home in a tent in the living room, like every intention that we set for our birthing story came to fruition in ways that we never imagined, and or I guess in ways that we exactly imagined. And having a baby, it's being connected to this sort of like life force creation energy
Yes.
is like the most magical creative thing I've ever experienced.
Mhm.
And that process has transcended even just the birth itself, like the ways in which I am creating art now. It's just different.
Yeah.
Uh, everything is has more purpose, is more intense, but also has this level of like extreme childish enthusiasm
Hmm.
that like I get from her, you know.
That's awesome. I love it. Now, Juan Pablo Di Pace plays Oscar, your husband, and there were some pretty great cast members in this film, like Emily Hampshire, Heather Matarazzo, Jake Choi. What was it like working with everyone, and what was the chemistry like on set?
It was great. This, it was super low budget indie movie. When the story is right and needs to be told, the actors will come. Like this wasn't a payday for any of us. We really wanted to be part of this story.
Yeah.
And on a project like that, it's just treated with a different level of care across the board. And I'm in pretty much every scene of this movie, and I got to play with these amazing actors,
Mhm.
like one day after the next. Like it kept shuffling, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, we shot this whole movie in 20, 21 days, 22 if you count the New York day. Like it was a marathon. There was no time to like sit back and relax.
Hmm.
I've never led a movie like this before. And it was a dream come true, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a scene that was your absolute favorite to film?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. Um, I mean, I would say it looks like my computer is about to die and it's not plugged in properly. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
There we go. I would just say overall the emotional journey that I got to go on with Juan Pablo.
Hmm.
There's so many layers to our relationship, and like it's really fun at times and really dramatic and really emotional, and we kind of hit all of these different, intense emotions uh spread out through the 21 days. And we started with like our most emotional stuff.
Hmm.
Such a generous actor, and it was I would say those scenes specifically were the most satisfying,
Hmm.
uh, and challenging too.
Yeah.
I love a good challenge on set.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Whole movie was a challenge.
Yeah. Well, what do you ultimately hope audiences take away from the Mattachine family?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that. I mean, first and foremost, I hope the audience is able to recognize that there is more than one way to create life, especially at a time when life is the most fragile, seemingly. Um, and family is a choice, really.
Hmm.
And uh, we get to choose the people that we have around us, the people that we consider family, and the ways in which we want to grow our family. And especially at a time when, legislation across the country is scary and is getting potentially scarier. We continue to have each other to lean on, no matter what.
Hmm.
Um, and secondly, like, I hope people see this movie and like want to go have babies because it's the best thing in the world.
Yes.
It feels like the purpose
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
lot of ways. I mean, totally respect people that don't want to have kids. I fully get it. But like, the growth in which I've experienced, um, is because of the life that was created.
Hmm. Did you always want to have kids?
Always. Yeah.
Always. Mhm.
I always knew I was going to be a dad for sure.
Awesome.
Bethany and I have known each other 17 years, and like we started having conversations about kids the first week we met each other.
Really?
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I mean, the Mattachine Family is a queer story about the University of Love, family, and community. Do you believe there is a greater urgency right now for queer stories like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always an urgency for alternative stories.
Mhm.
I mean, since the beginning of like film and television, we've seen uh, these stories play out from a specific perspective. And
Yeah.
I think post internet, we started hearing more voices in ways that we always knew existed, right? But like uh, people just got to control their narrative in different ways.
Mhm.
And I think we're just scratching the surface, to be honest with you. Like I
Yeah.
think so much more to unravel.
No, I definitely agree. Definitely. So, how would you say the Mattachine Family has made you a better actor and an artist?
I mean, just in terms of the timing of this project and the the pace at which we had to create art,
Mhm.
like just I mean, it's like physical training almost. Like it was the first time I experienced having to work that much that fast every single day. Um, and secondly, like just the fact that it was a story that was so close to home, there wasn't much that I had to pull from that was outside of myself.
Mhm.
It just every day constantly reminded me that all great acting comes from somewhere within,
Oh, definitely.
I've been able to hit that in different ways after shooting this movie on other projects for sure.
Awesome. So, what are some other projects you're currently working on?
Well, I'm making music now,
Okay,
uh,
awesome.
which I'm very excited about. I'm on an Apple show called City on Fire that the season finale just came out last week. So you can binge all 8 episodes however you want to. Currently, it's all available on Apple. It's a really fun show. Creators Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage from the OC and Gossip Girl. This is their Apple TV version of a big New York story.
Mhm.
Play a rock star on the show, which is how I found music in my life in such a meaningful way. We wound up recording an album for the show. I was in uh, uh, recording booth the majority of the time that I wasn't on set. I was recording these songs, and I just fell in love with the process and formed this relationship with one of the producers named Abe Seyfarth, the music producers. And jokingly, when the season was coming to an end, I was like, I don't want to leave. Like, let's just keep making music.
Mhm.
And he gave me permission in a way that has just been unbelievable. And I've been in the studio ever since, and
Nice.
have an album coming out this year.
Awesome. Very nice. When this year? Do you know yet?
No, not for sure.
Okay.
Still writing in real time and just trying to build the team out for a proper rollout.
Okay. Perfect. That's fantastic. All right, Nico. Well, how can one stay up to date with you?
Hmm. I mean, I feel like Instagram is the platform that I share the most on for sure. But I go through phases there, like where I want to share a lot, where I don't want to share at all. Um, yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
No, that seems like it's good.
Okay. Fantastic.